It's funny to hear a female talk about routes. Like,
in relationship, Mia Mignon.
What's up, sports freak?
Listen, I know sports better than most females.
Love. You know, what do you know about love? What do you possibly think you know about love?
Maury Lang Show with the Renegade Relationship. Let me shatter that myth real quick before you go on. Just because a woman likes sex all the time does not make her a freak.
Hello and welcome back to another episode, an exciting episode of Routes and Relationships where I am Mia Mignon.
And I am Maury Lang Show. What up? What up?
Hello,
what's going on?
Hello, Routes and Relationship fans.
What up, YouTube?
So today we're going to discuss the critically acclaimed All or Nothing with the Dallas Cowboys, Season 3. My gosh.
So this is all about the Dallas Cowboys. So
Dallas
if you're
Cowboys.
not a Dallas Cowboy fan, go ahead and tune out. We'll catch you on the next
No, pay
podcast.
attention. Pay close attention.
Yeah, you know they won't.
Yeah, they should pay close attention.
Okay, so in the second half of the show, what are we tackling?
We are discussing why the rise in cheating amongst older women are has
skyrocketing?
increased.
Wow.
Yes, it's skyrocketing. Yes.
Okay, older women, y'all can't keep your thing in your pants now, huh?
Well, older women don't have a thing to keep in their pants. They want a thing in their pants, but that's something that we're going to discuss.
All right, so first up, the Dallas Cowboys, All or Nothing. If you haven't seen that, check it out on Amazon Prime.
Very
All or
good
Nothing.
show. Very good show.
Now, is that Dallas Cowboys season 3, or is it a show for All or Nothing? With one season they tackle one team, another season they tackle another team.
Yes, their first season was, I believe, was it Michigan? Michigan State?
Oh.
Yeah, the first season
It had to
was in
be
college.
Michigan.
It was in Michigan.
Yeah.
With Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Was it Michigan? Yeah, it was Michigan. The second season was the LA Rams. Oh, were they LA Rams then? No, they were St. Louis.
I haven't.
Well, they did the Rams. How about that?
I just watched the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they did the Rams, and now we are going to discuss who they did on season 3, which was the fabulous, fantastic America's team, Dallas Cowboys.
So where do you want to start with that?
I want to start with what everybody knows, that Jerry Jones is indeed the greatest showman on earth, because he did start the show with the greatest show on earth, which was the Justin Timberlake show.
They do it big in Dallas, and Jerry Jones is that guy.
Yes, Hall of Fame party. That party was over $1 million.
Do it big or go
Yes,
home.
just for a Hall of Fame party.
So what you get out of the episode besides Jerry Jones? Just talk about the coaches and players and behind the scenes.
What I got out of the episode, in short, is Dez is very much, or was very much, coddled. Ezekiel Elliott is about to be as coddled as Dez Bryant, and that's not good for Zeke and the Dallas Cowboys.
Why do you say that?
Because they aren't allowing Zeke to accept responsibility for his actions. But we'll go through that as we talk about the episode.
Okay.
What I also notice is that I see a lot of fans complain on Twitter, especially during football games, is that they don't have any passion, they don't have any fire, which is not true because they practice like it. Mm-hmm. And I also noticed that all of the black coaches are married to white girls.
Yeah, I did notice that. I know you're going to say that. I did notice that.
Yes, the coaches, the players, yeah, that's it.
How's the entire coaching staff married to white women?
I don't know.
My goodness.
To each his own.
Yeah. Well, I got quite a few things out of this episode. Out of this entire show that I binge watched.
Yes, me too.
I didn't know that Jason Garrett had such a potty mouth.
A personality at that.
Oh my God.
His mouth is ridiculous.
Every other word was fuck, shit, asshole, bitch, fuck.
Yes, I'm gonna fucking throw up.
Jason Garrett? Oh my God, I never would have guessed that. I thought he was a clean-cut professional guy. He spoke to people with respect, and oh my God, this dude has a potty mouth.
Let me ask you, by finding out that Jason Garrett has a potty mouth, does that make you like him?
I'm
talking about as a person, not just
I respect him.
Okay.
I actually respect him a little more.
Because I've seen people that watched this and then have tweeted about it
Uh-huh.
now say the same thing. Like, oh my God, I think I like Jason Garrett just because he shows me that he has more of a personality than standing in front of a podium saying that it's a process. It's football. He's a great football player because it's a process. Like,
Yeah,
he only used those 3 words.
I saw a completely different side of Jason Garrett.
Yes.
And what I saw through the whole show was that's who he is. That's actually how he talks. That's how he,
the potty mouth?
Yeah, the potty mouth.
Yeah, potty mouth.
But he just shows that, you know, you turn off and turn on when you need to be professional.
Mm-hmm.
So, another thing I got out of it was Jason Witten, man. Jason Witten's leadership is
Going to be missed.
going to be missed. That might be an understatement. Missed is an understatement.
It is going to be.
Jeez. Jason Witten is guaranteed first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yes, I agree.
And have you heard the story? I'm sure you have. But about Jason Witten when he talks about Romo?
How he first met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard Jason Witten tell? I've heard Romo tell the story, but have you heard Jason Witten?
I have heard.
Oh my gosh! I want to tell this. I want to say the story, but I feel I'm going to get choked up, and I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry on the podcast.
Well, so what you can do is just give just a little bit. Maybe you can tell it the way Tony Romo tell it, because I think Tony Romo would get choked up if he seriously told that story. So he tries to add some ad-libs and funniness to it.
Yeah, well, what Jason Witten said, and I'm sure many Dallas Cowboys fans know the story of how they met. Jason Witten and Tony Romo, when they were being taken to Cowboy Stadium for, I guess, the mini workouts?
The rookie workouts.
Rookie workouts, because they came to the league the same year. Jason Witten was a 3rd-round draft pick, and Tony Romo wasn't drafted.
Walk-on.
Yeah, pretty much a walk-on.
Yeah.
So they were on a shuttle bus coming from the airport to Cowboy Stadium. And this is Witten telling the story. And really, they introduced each other, and you would think that Romo knows who Witten was because he was actually drafted, and they laugh about that even 15 years later. And through 15 years.
I heard the story, I'm sure the Cowboys picked you up and they take you to the hotel. And literally, we were the only 2 on the shuttle bus. And we didn't know who each other were at the time. And the joke was like, at least I was drafted. I probably should have known who I was. I didn't know who he was. He wasn't drafted. And it was a 3rd-round pick at least. Oh, get to know your player. But you start that journey together, literally just hoping to make a team and then chase it for the next 14 years together. And there was never a point where I felt like we were outmatched, where somebody was more prepared and more talented than we were, you know, and we didn't get the ultimate prize, and, you know, that's something that, you know, we have to live with and deal with, but, man, that didn't change anything of my feelings towards him and how appreciative I was of his ability to make everybody around him better. And a lot of fun times and to grow as men and now husbands and fathers, and certainly to see, you know, us grow from kids to, you know, guys trying to beat Father Time now and hold on a little bit. Beautiful said.
I'm really starting to get choked up.
They became friends.
Not like best friends.
Yeah.
Witten talks about how you come in there as a kid. You're drafted, and in Romo's case, undrafted, but you have the same mission. You have the same goal. And to look up 15 years later,
Accomplish somewhat of it.
To see them, and this is Witten, to see us as fathers, as husbands, it's just quite a journey, and you never want to take something for granted.
Right.
And that whole relationship, man, they came in as kids, and their fathers are now, Witten's now retiring, and Tony Romo's in the booth, and to see those 2 never win a championship is just, it's almost blasphemy.
It is.
Talk about 2 people who deserve to host a trophy and be called champions. Jason Witten, you know, I wasn't the biggest Romo fan, but with the work he put in from an undrafted guy to become the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, there are very few jobs in life that people covet.
Yeah.
And to be the shortstop of the Yankees, to be the star player of the LA Lakers, to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
Those are coveted jobs, and Tony Romo did a fairly good job. But that story about him and Witten, My goodness.
And what else was your takeaway? I you know what I took away from it? I have one question though. Why does Jerry Jones Jr. and Stephen Jones have better seats at the coaching table than the actual coaches? Like the offensive coordinator. Did you see?
I noticed that,
The
yeah.
offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator, they were all sitting in the back table.
Yeah.
That was a little strange to me.
At least Jason Garrett is at the head of the table.
Yeah, I'll give
But
him
why
that.
are Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones in the coaches meeting at all?
Period. I don't understand. I don't know. I really don't know.
I watched that every episode and watch Jason Garrett at the head of the table, and to his right is Stephen Jones, and to his right is Jerry
Well,
Jones.
in their defense, they weren't always there because remember they met upstairs at that little circle table sometimes. But majority of the time during certain games, they were inside the coaches meeting.
The coaches meeting.
But on every episode, they were not in those meetings.
But I wonder how many other owners are in the coaches meeting throughout the
I'm
week.
gonna go ahead and say none.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say none. And
How about Jalen Smith?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh! Talk about getting choked up.
And to be able to work with his brother.
Man, how sweet is that? You get drafted. Do you think about this? And to play in the NFL, these kids dream about this when they're 6 and 9 and 13 and 15 years old. Like, it's a lifelong dream to be drafted into the NFL. And to be drafted into the NFL to play with your brother on the same team. My God. But Jalen Smith's journey.
Yes.
Ironically, his last game as a collegiate player, playing for Notre Dame, he's playing against Ohio State. And it's well known that he tore his ACL, he tore his MCL, and
PCL.
it pretty much ripped his whole knee apart.
Yeah, it tore some nerves and damaged some nerves.
Yeah, and it was bad. People said he wasn't going to play again, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and for him to come back from that, and there's a picture, and we got to show this picture of Jalen Smith on the ground, surrounded by his trainers. But Ezekiel Elliott, who played for Ohio State at the time, they were playing against each other, came over on one knee, and he's kind of praying for Jalen Smith.
Yeah.
For them to be teammates now,
Yeah.
pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
Yes. I also agree. But that whole Dez Bryant and All or Nothing, oh my gosh. What I learned, there's a lot of Dez apologists out there, which I used to be one of them. But after watching this episode, I can't apologize for Dez anymore. I can't. I think they did a great job of coddling Dez. I think they did a great job of trying to help and stir Dez to do Dez-like things. But I don't think Dez wanted to do Dez-like things in somebody else's scheme, with somebody telling him what to do, what to look out for. Because remember when Derek Dooley was going over how great the defensive backs were and the things that you need to watch out for, and he wanted to interject and say, well, what about me? What about us? Why you don't give us credit? I don't think it was him not giving you credit, but he was trying to go over the tape and tell you some of the things to watch out for.
Right. Dooley's the wide receivers coach for the Cowboys.
Yes.
Right.
And Dez is an I need praise athlete, and those are very dangerous athletes, because if they don't get the praise, they'll do exactly what Dez does. Take off, drop balls, sit down, and have antics that doesn't necessarily allow you to blame yourself or look in the mirror, but start to point the finger, start saying that the offense is predictable, which it is. But it's a predictable offense that nobody can stop if you execute it right.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think Dez is going to have much success wherever he goes. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder, but at 9 years in the league, 10 years in the league now, he's just a shell of a player anyway, so.
Yeah, his best shot was to take the pay cut and stay a Dallas Cowboy, and he didn't want to do that, so.
Now he's saying after the fact that he would have taken a pay cut.
Yeah, so he says.
But, you know, one of the other things I've learned in watching this show, Will McClay.
I've always liked Will McClay.
Will McClay, what's his position? Director of Pro Personnel?
Player personnel.
Player personnel, okay.
Yes.
Will McClay has a pulse of that team like nobody else.
He does.
He knows his place. This is one episode where he was on the practice field and he's watching the practice, and he's standing about 10 feet away from Jason Garrett, and he walks close to Jason Garrett and says, "Hey, Jason, what's up with Darren McFadden?" How's he doing? How's he feeling? And Jason Garrett says, I planned on talking to him today. I got to talk to him. I want to get with him today after practice. And lo and behold, Darren McFadden was not happy with his role, but never said anything.
Right.
And in subsequent episodes, he kind of alluded to being second behind Ezekiel. Ezekiel was going to be the main guy.
He was third, actually.
But when they signed him to be second. And then they picked up Alfred Morris, and Alfred Morris, it was a battle to see who was going to be second. Alfred Morris eventually won that, and then Rod Smith came over the year later, and pretty much became third.
Yeah.
So he knew being fourth was not an option for him, and 3 days later, after Will McClay asked Jason Garrett that question at practice, McFadden was released.
Yeah.
So Will McClay, he just has that pulse. He knows what's going on, and he wants to get ahead of it. So I commend, if Dallas Cowboys ever lost Will McClay, that'd be devastating.
They'll be in serious trouble. So I'm glad they did give him the extension that he needed last year because, that was the issue of whether or not he was going to stay. Because I think the Redskins were in his backyard like they always, they're always in the Cowboys' backyard.
Yeah, for coaches and players and
he
executives.
decided to stay. Anything else you want to talk about?
Plenty.
Ezekiel Elliott?
You want to talk about Gene Steratore towards a Cowboys fan?
Hey, the Cowboys won that game fair and square.
Fair and square, really?
They did win that game fair and square.
He put a note card in between the pole and the football.
But let me tell you, if they would have spotted the ball correctly, he wouldn't have had to put a note card in it. First of all, they didn't spot the ball correctly because when you saw the overhead camera, Dak actually moved the ball past the orange marker to say that it was a first down, but they didn't spot it correctly. Bottom line is, I was going to call him John Kidner. Bottom line is, Derek Carr should not have fumbled that ball at the 1 yard line because you still had a chance to win.
and Gene Steratore, he quickly said, the ruling on the field is a touch fumble into the end zone, and it's a touchback.
It was.
That dude is a Cowboys fan.
It was. It really was.
Me otherwise.
It really was. The Bama stepped out, the ball fumbled at the 1 yard line and went over. And shout out to Jeff Heath for being fast, fit and fast.
Yeah. So for me, this whole thing, Jason Garrett, potty mouth, Jason Witten, leadership, Dez. Baby.
Ezekiel Elliott he's going to continue to be a knucklehead because he has no accountability. And I'm going to go ahead and say that next year, the Cowboys should look at who is a good running back coming out of college because you're going to need him.
For the Cowboys?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because Zeke if this experience that he had last year does not change him, then he won't last 3 years.
Wow. Well, I hope he goes the Des Bryant route and takes accountability and realizes that this is his shot.
Yeah, maybe he needs those babysitters that they gave Des when Des had the evolve.
Look, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, he needs
Give it to him.
He needs them.
Give it to him.
But I'm gonna miss Des picking out color rush uniforms.
Working with Charlotte.
Yes, did you see the blue piping down the black? They did look nice though. The white pants with the blue piping and the gray in between. Oh yeah, Des hooked them up. Yeah, I like that. I really did. I like that.
And for me, at the end of the day, the success and the losses of the Dallas Cowboys, we've named like 15 different people. For me, to sum it all up, the bottom line is, for me, watching Jason's potty mouth or Jason Witten leadership or Romo coming back to do a game, Jalen Smith. By the way, Jalen Smith, I think very few things get me choked up. One thing, and don't laugh because I know you're laughing inside, there's plenty of things that get you choked up. Go with me on this one. One thing that really gets me choked up is when military personnel, the soldiers, come back from their station, like Afghanistan, and surprise the wife and kids.
Right.
And the wife and kids have no idea that their dad, their husband. That really gets me choked up. Second is watching NFL players get drafted on draft day.
Yes.
And Jalen Smith draft day. Boy, oh boy. If you've never watched that, check that out.
I think I cried when I watched the playback of it the first time. I think I did. I think I cried again when I watched the episode. I did.
So, in the end, I was saying, what sums it up for me, the biggest disappointment in that Cowboys organization is Scott Linehan.
Oh my.
And it sums it up when they played the season finale against the Seahawks. And the commentators, they say they needed a play to continue the drive. And the commentator says, and Linehan can't come up with the right play.
Yeah, that's always the case.
That is always the freaking case.
Well,
when are we going to really, when is everybody going to recognize that the play calling is awful?
Well, Jason Garrett probably needs to take over. But that's
But he doesn't realize it, though.
But he does realize it, and I think it's some infighting going on there, because they talk about that in Dallas a lot. That Jason Garrett doesn't necessarily agree with Scott Linehan, but the powers that be are like, we hired Scott Linehan, kind of listen to him a little bit, and you got to give him a little bit more leeway. So Jason Garrett they wanted him to focus on, because remember, in the beginning when he was a coach, everybody said he had clock management issue. He had too much on his plate, which was being the offensive coordinator, trying to be the head coach. So that's when Scott Linehan came in. Well, Scott Linehan isn't doing what Jason Garrett wants, so now he wants to be able to control that back, but they don't want to give him back the offensive coordinator job because they want him to do head coaching responsibilities.
Right. Well, Cowboys will be in a conundrum because Scott Linehan, he's way past his prime. When you look at Sean McVay and who's the other young cat out in San Fran, the Shanahan. I'm saying when you see these young guys becoming head coaches and their offense is putting up 30, 35 points a game, Linehan is so behind the times. He's just not as creative as these guys.
Well, Dak needs to channel his inner Tony Romo, because Tony Romo probably would have heard that play call and would have been like, okay, yeah. Anyway, get in the huddle. We're going to audible out of this. And we're gonna do
which Romo got a lot of flack for, because he was 50-50 on those. He would audible out a 3rd and 1 run play to a play action play. So, and 50% of the time he'd get it done, but again, 50% of the time he would fail.
I think it was a little bit more than 50, but still.
Okay.
It wasn't 50% of the time when Dez caught the ball in Green Bay. That was something that they did not want him to do. But he made that call, which was the right call. Dez, according to the league, dropped it. But anyway, we're going to move on to despite older women cheating on their husbands or boyfriends.
Andy now fears that Joe may be cheating with one of those older women. Who might that be? Well, it's Candy's 65-year-old grandmother, Carol. Your grandmother.
My 65-year-old grandmother, Murray. Murray, I wake up at 4 o'clock and I'm looking for my man and I see him coming up out of my grandma's room.
Didn't you also find something in your grandmother's room that was his?
Murray, I found his pants is laid on the side of my grandma's bed.
As I understand it, he has admitted that he kind of is attracted to older women.
Yes, Murray. I done found out texts from older women, 40, 50, 60 years old.
Really? But he says he's not doing anything with those
Murray,
women.
he tell me he ain't doing nothing, but I don't believe him. I'm tired of I want to find out today.
Have a seat, Carol.
I hear her lying.
Jeez.
I wonder why that is, relationship guy.
We said older women. We're talking about 44 and older.
No. We are not talking about 44 and older.
Who are we talking about?
We are talking about grandma. Well, grandma's 32.
Bernice Bourgeois is 38.
Yeah, that fake bitch. Anyway, we're talking about the 52-ish, 55, close to 60-year-old woman.
And what are these tramps doing?
They're not tramps. They're in relationships with guys.
Married relationships?
Married relationships or
boyfriends,
boyfriend
living
and girlfriends.
boyfriends. Okay.
Yeah, living boyfriends or
Okay.
boyfriend got their own place.
Okay.
But they want to go out. They want to do things. They want to date. They want to have sex. They want to experience things. But the older guy is, instead of going out, let's just order something in and let's just sit around.
So the older guy wants to Netflix and chill,
Yes.
and the older girl wants to party.
Yeah, take me dancing. You know, sometimes do something.
And because he's not, she getting a little sling, ding-a-ling on the side.
Yeah, she's finding, if she's 60, she's finding somebody that's 49, 50, who's taking her out. Who she's going out on dates with. So who do you give the advice to? Do you give the advice to the older woman who just wants to be able to live out her last years of her life after raising her kids and retiring and being able to experience, or do you give the advice to the man who is taking that woman for granted because he went out here and sold his Royal Oaks and after his ass got ED, he wanted to settle down with this one woman who is supposed to love him enough to put up with his ED and she's not being satisfied. So who do you give the advice to?
The advice comes to both. It starts with the woman. Since she's doing the dirt, she gets the advice first.
Okay.
So my questions to her would be, have you communicated the issues to your husband or to your boyfriend? Which the answer would be?
The one lady that I know, she communicated it, but I don't think she effectively communicated it.
And I can almost guarantee that she did. If it was communicated, it was an argument.
Yeah, it was kind of like,
Why don't you get your ragged ass up and go home?
Hey, son of a bitch, I'm as much home here as you are.
No, you're lying.
Well, you
I
find
beg
out.
your damn
Well,
pardon.
Whose goddamn name's on the deed?
Mine and yours.
But mine is first.
I don't give a fuck if it's
That's not a more.
first, second, third, or whatever. Try to put my damn ass out.
Who the hell wants you out, you crazy thing? Boy,
I hate you.
I know that. I know
hate
that.
you.
Why don't you shoot me? Son of a
I
bitch?
would if it wasn't for going to jail.
Well, hell, they wouldn't even have you in jail.
nigga, you don't take me nowhere. You think I'm gonna be
See?
sitting around in the house like this all day? You got another thing coming.
See?
It was kind of
See?
that kind of communication.
Yeah, that's the. Man, get the fuck out the way. I'm trying to watch the game.
Yes.
Or can you step aside? Give me real quick. Step aside, sweetheart.
Yes.
Right. Very ineffective communication. You can kind of tell this stuff. So to the woman that's out there doing this dirt, grow up. Pretty much simple, pretty plain and simple. You got to grow up and communicate your issues in a sincere and effective way. The way to do that is let your husband or boyfriend know what he means to you in this relationship and what you would like to see happen. If you're sincere and you respect pillar number one in the renegade relationship and you respect how he's going to take it, then you can now come at him up the proper way. You tell him exactly what it means to you in a relationship and how you want to see the relationship, and you tell him what you need. So, for example, in this scenario, she can go to him and say, hey, babe, I know we've been together for 3, 5, 7, 20 years, whatever the case may be, and you've been great father, we've traveled, but I feel like we're boring right now. I want to go dancing. I want to go do this stuff. I want to go hang out. I want to do this. I want to do X, Y, Z. And now it's up to him to satisfy her needs.
Okay.
She can't just arbitrarily, I'm not about to sit around this house and not do nothing with your ass. I'm out. And then go fuck somebody else. Or go dance with somebody else. That's not fair. That's not how relationships work. And she's out of line for that.
Okay.
So on the man's side,
Assuming she communicated this with him.
assuming, right. On the man's side, every man, and I've hammered this point to no end, men, I teach my boys this, be accountable for your actions. You gotta be accountable. When somebody sincerely expresses their feelings towards you, you gotta look in the mirror and say, how can I be better? You owe it to that relationship to do that. If your woman sincerely comes to you and says, this is what she needs and this is what she wants, then you as a man have to be accountable and satisfy those needs. And if you don't, then you can see the consequences.
Yes, Grandma. Your woman is going to be out here with Dexter St. Jock.
Dexter St. Jock.
Dexter St. Jock.
She's going to start taking
Or Winston.
2 or 3 girls trips instead of 1 girl trip. Or, you know, on girls trips, they just go fuck somebody real quick.
Oh
Come back home
my
anyway.
gosh, we're not going there, Dominican. Anything else you want to give?
So that's my advice to women.
Advice? Okay.
Yeah. Let him know sincerely. Don't fucking argue about the shit saying what you're not going to accept, because that's very ineffective communication.
So, grandmas and grandpas, I hope you take this advice. And if there are any grandchildren out here that notice that their grandparents are kind of going through this, give them this renegade relationship advice and see their relationship flourish. So, on that note, are we done?
I think we may be done. Unless you have another question, Snare.
Well, no, I think we repaired the grandparents' relationship.
Good luck. I'm glad we can help.
Yes. So, we want to thank you for listening to Routes and Relationships, and we are out of here.
Peace.